Weirdly, little is happening in Congress. Only 5 new bills have actually been signed into law this year. So I thought it would be a good time to talk about something pending in Congress. I wish we could all take bets on whether it's actually going to get passed or not, but it's worth talking about because it's something that President Trump and Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House of Representatives, who is a Democrat, actually agree on. And in fact, there's a lot of bipartisan support for it. What I'm talking about is a ban on holding individual stocks for members of Congress. Over the years, there have been a lot of attempts to pass laws that say members of Congress can't hold individual stocks because they have such an important role in regulating the industries and even the companies that they hold stocks in. So instead of holding individual stocks, Congress people would be asked to hold stock funds. Why is that necessary? It's because, in spite of their protestations that they're not doing anything wrong, Congress people have performed remarkably well in the stock market compared to the average person. A recent example is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who bought a bunch of stock when tariffs were announced and the stock market dropped dramatically, and then quickly sold those stocks when President Trump changed tactics and the stock market shot back up. In the whole last year, the S&P was up 24.9%, while the holdings of Democratic lawmakers were up 31% and Republicans saw a 26% gain. But individual members of Congress have had pretty dramatic successes. In 2024, Representative David Rouzer, a Republican from North Carolina, had the best performance with a 104% return on his stock investments. But Nancy Pelosi is famous for the performance of her husband's stock holdings, which have had returns in excess of 200%, last year 70.9%, which is pretty darn good. And this happens on both sides of the aisle. Some of the congressmen who had gains in the stock market topping 100% last year include Democrat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Democrat Ron Wyden, Republican Roger Williams, Republican Pete Sessions, and more. That's just a very small list. And so this year in Congress, they are trying again to regulate this. Both houses introducing bills to limit congressional ownership of individual stocks. In the Senate, Josh Hawley introduced the Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments Act, or the Pelosi Act. And in the House, Senator Tim Burchett from Tennessee introduced the End Congressional Stock Trading Act. Both of these pieces of legislation were introduced in March, and so far they're just sitting there. Do you think members of Congress should be able to own individual stocks for companies that they regulate and may have inside information about? And what do you think the chances are that this legislation will actually get passed?